It's always a nice surprise to see a watch from Instagram in person, because this one really changed my mind. Let's get into the video. Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch Gang, where my goal is to show you cool and exciting watches which you don't see on most other YouTube channels. So today is no different. I will be diving deep into the world of this new watch brand and their first watch, the Anoma A1. If you're interested in the watch, I'll put a link in my video description below. The pre-sales are open until June 6th, so you have a few more days to purchase one of the first pieces. So where did this new brand come from, what was the inspiration behind their first model, and should you even get one? I have seen the Anoma A1 months before it was officially launched. As I like to cover rather unusual watches on my channel, people feel comfortable with sharing their designs beforehand. And as a watch collector myself, I just love seeing them and discussing with the founders the reasons behind the new journey they're embarking on, as well as the design of the watches. When I saw the Anoma, I was immediately intrigued due to many reasons, but I wasn't sure how it's going to be in person. The obvious one is the sculpture shape. I've never seen anything like it. The fully rounded triangular case with the integrated strap, no lugs and a very mesmerizing dial, which color remind me of the dials like the FP Journe Chronometre Bleu or the Vacheron Constantin Overseas, obviously the blue dial. A blue which is striking, changes its intensity by the light and has a rich depth about it. I knew that I wanted to feature it here, because maybe some of you also might appreciate this watch. And since I mostly show expensive and rare and sold out watches, this might actually be a breath of fresh air. Anoma was founded by Matteo Violet-Vianello, a young guy who used to be one of the first employees over at A Collected Man, one of my very favorite platforms which sells and sources watches. They also create some of my favorite photography online. So when Matteo used to work there, he was in charge of sourcing and selling watches as well as creating editorial content, mostly focusing on Philippe Dufour, FP Journe, Voutilainen and Daniel Roth, as well as vintage and neo-vintage pieces from brands like Patek Philippe, Cartier, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron, and the list goes of course on and on. During that time, Matteo learned what makes a watch special. I can imagine this because if you handle so many special watches, talk to the collectors who buy them, as well as spend time to research, you develop a very good sense of the market, as well as obviously the overall design aspects of the industry. The Anoma A1 is also clearly inspired by the world of shaped watches. I think there's often a distinction in watchmaking. Some brands or watchmakers focus more on the mechanical side, others more on the design side. Of course, both elements intertwine, but it's clearly visible with brands like Cartier, where they often focus mostly on the design, especially their most famous models like the Cartier Tank, Crash, Asymmetrique, Cintre, and a watch which actually reminds me of this Anoma, the Pebble from Cartier. Matteo, who was born in Paris, started collecting at a young age, and one of his first watches was from a brand called Lip. And if you Google that brand's vintage pieces, you'll see that shapes play a big role in them. The love of design watches also comes from his great-grandfather, who was a jeweler. The sculpture approach to creating a watch made sense. Do not focus on the movement, but start with the case. A rounded triangular design with no straight lines, no hard edges and a very organic feel to it. The design was inspired by a moment when Matteo visited an antique gallery in Paris and saw a table made by Charlotte Perriand. The freeform table was created in the 1950s, and if you're conscious of its shape, you might even see it in your everyday life. The rounded nature of the case, which is mirror polished, allowing the light to do its magic. It's also reminiscent of a pebble, which is formed by the currents of the water in a river. What I also like is that the sapphire crystal and the case are not actually aligned, which I'm sure made the production process slightly harder. And the different elements on the dial are in line with the sapphire. Matteo also drew inspiration from Constantin Brancusi, who used pinch points, in this case meaning when the two overlapping triangles of the case and dial are shifted slightly, hence creating similar pinch points, like on the sculptures Brancusi created. The metal midnight blue dial is vertically brushed and features a middle part which is made in a darker blue tone. This central triangle is applied by a highly polished technique. I like it a lot because it creates a more dynamic look and breaks down the dial into more sections to make it not look this empty. The hour markers remind me of one of my favorite Pateks designed by Gilbert Albert, but also not uncommon for that time period. I think they are a nice contrast, so the case and sapphire are rounded and the lines on the dial are sharp and straight, a cool design choice. The hour and minute hand are in tune with the design cues of the case, making it very coherent. They're leaf-shaped, domed and polished, featuring a curve to be in line with the organic overall appeal of the case. The watch you see in my recordings is a prototype, of course, which traveled all around the world, and I can't wait to see the finished product in its final quality. What I appreciate about the A1 is the commitment to design, hence the crown is also hidden from plain sight. Once you have the watch on the wrist, you only see the triangular case and might wonder where's the crown. Well, it's neatly tucked away on the side at 3 o'clock. You can pull it out easily with your fingernail and adjust the time. It merges nicely with the lines of the profile, which you can see here, which is another small design obstacle they had to figure out. The Anoma A1 features an automatic mechanical movement since Matteo loves obviously mechanical watches. He chose not to go quartz. The movement inside is the Sellita SW100 with a 42-hour power reserve. A sturdy movement which is easily serviceable. The inner side of the case spec also features pelage decoration, a detail which most owners won't see in person, but it's a pleasant surprise for the watchmaker once he opens it. The A1 is very comfortable on the wrist, as you can see here. One of those watches where you forget that you're actually wearing it. It's also rounded on the bottom of the case, hence it wears thinner. It's actually only 9.45mm thick and has case dimensions of 39 by 39mm. It does wear smaller though due to not having lugs. The strap is integrated into the case and you can easily change it with a simple tool using 18mm spring bars. The buckle I have here is not the final one. The final one will be actually also rounded, which you can see on this beautiful picture. So again, staying coherent with the case and all the other design elements of the watch. I think it's also a very nice couple's watch. My wrist is pretty big, as you can see here, 18.7 centimeters, but your significant other can also wear it, again due to having no lugs. I love shaped watches. Currently I own two which are more unique, the Exakuo soft watch as you can see here, as well as a very vintage Jean d'Ève. These are more sensitive, so I don't really wear them a lot, but since the Anoma A1 is a modern watch, I would be able to rock it on a daily basis and have no fear of actually breaking it. So to sum things up here, the Anoma A1, which is derived from the word anomaly, is a new brand with a unique design, clear direction, and a young entrepreneur behind it. I'm thankful to Matteo for his trust and I wish him and his team all the best on this new journey. The dial is really something special. When I wore it, I also noticed a slightly green hue, different shades of blue and shadows on it. It's a very fun watch which you could wear daily with no care in the world. It's a watch that actually grew on me the more I wore it. If you want to learn more about the Anoma A1 and how to purchase one, I'll put the link in the video description below. The first 100 pieces were numbered and are actually already sold out. But you can get yours until the 6th of June and the price for the watch is 1,300 British pounds or approximately 1,650 US dollars. Let me know what you think about this watch and if you would actually love to see more watches in this price category on my channel. I always read your comments and your feedback helps shape the channel, so I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching guys, and I'll see you soon.